So part of what I wanted to understand is, why do people lie? And because I've seen a lot of lying going on all the time. And our lies are, um, you have to really, really believe in your lie because you're trying to get accepted. And that's basically why people are lying, is either they're doing it intentionally or unintentionally, but the driving force behind all of that is acceptance, acceptance from family. And this pattern kept getting repeated because eventually this man was just driving me crazy because I was doing all the friggin' work. I was the friggin' slave looking after, the kids all the time. He again was refusing to work. I was always constantly trying to find him a job so that he would work. He would always be the higher income. So with daycare and everything, it was just wiser, more efficient if I found him a job to go and apply to, and I would always try and work from home. And eventually it got the best out of me. Um, I left when I was at my absolute lowest. I couldn't handle the stress of taking on all of these problems that he was creating all of the time. But then I ended up having, the abuse escalated. Um, if he didn't want to financially support his family when we lived together, he certainly wasn't about to do that after I left, which was, for the greatest part, I couldn't leave him because how do you support, you know, 4 kids by myself when, I had been trying to look for work and I was always in competition with other people that had more experience and they were younger. So it was always a challenge to get out and on my own. So if we think that it's really easy for women to leave abuse, you got another thing coming to you because you got to feed these kids. And, there is no way that our economic systems are set up that you can even go out and earn a living to be able to support the kids that you have. And you can't really go back on and saying, well, why did you have those kids? Well, we had those kids because we were, a loving family at the time. Nobody's, it's after the kids come when there's responsibilities and somebody doesn't want to be responsible. So anyways, um, there was an awful lot of lies that he had to do to get out of paying his child support. And his biggest drive was to get respect and be accepted, and he always feared that I was going to turn his children against him. He really, really did love his kids. There's no question about that. There are little things within, our time together that showed he really was, a good father. He really, was trying to be better than his father. But society told him that, oh, watch your wife. She's going to take you for everything that you've got, So that put him on a defense. So that's how our society sort of encourages abuse to happen. Society, we don't even know. We set up these women's shelters. We set up all of these nonprofit organizations to stop, to help victims, and yet all they're doing is designing you to accept and allow a bad situation. We're not interested in solving any of these problems, and they actually work at controlling it so it keeps it going, it keeps sustaining the problem. And to try and make a long story really, really short, he really manipulated the justice systems. I've seen some videos out there that are really against lawyers and judges, and trust me, there is no equal system there. If you're poor, I mean, give it some thought. Can you afford a lawyer? If you've got to feed children, where do you even have time to take time off work, and who's going to be your lawyer? There's a lot of people in jail right now, and they're only in jail because they couldn't afford a good lawyer. There's some criminal that's really, really calm, looks really peaceful, is really financially successful because he happens to be stealing from people, and he can afford the higher paying lawyers. So our justice system is all designed to only listen to the criminals, and they got good lawyers, and they can twist a story to make anything look the way they want to. And on top of it, if you've got a victim there, not only can you not present your evidence, but you've been a victim. You're emotionally destroyed, stressed to the max, possibly angry. You've got everything going against you because you're the victim of something. But our justice system doesn't look at it that way. If you don't appear really peaceful and calm, and look like, a productive member of society, then you look like you're the one that's guilty. Meanwhile, I mean, what do you look like if you had everything? If you had the nicest house and you can take vacations and, everything that got you that good life was caused by crime, but crime doesn't fizz you. I mean, you're happy. You're enjoying your life. You'll present well. You can afford a lawyer, So I really get angry when I see a lot of victims. You can see the Gulf Oil, um, anybody that's on being told get over it, or anybody that's being the victim of some kind of crime, corporate or family crime, or any form of crime. If you are the victim of something, um, to trust in a justice system is that's the story. My story is the same as everybody's story. We all have that in common, that we're all trying to find justice. We're all trying to find an organization to help us. We're all trying to find a government system that's going to represent us. And until we kind of wake up to the fact they ain't there, there is no government that's going to support you. They're only supporting the wealthy guys because they get the voices. you know these nonprofits are all funded by criminals. Where's the money coming from to any nonprofit? Generally the wealthy guy that got wealthy because he's a friggin' criminal, but might feel a little bad about his crime, so he donates to a nonprofit organization. So these are the patterns that we need to recognize. Is when you see somebody that has that bigger house, has that car, is really enjoying life, then they are on the side of taking advantage of other people. But when you're taking advantage of other people, there's always somebody above you taking advantage of you, and above them is somebody else taking advantage of you. There's many levels of this taking advantage of other people. um, Now, my end result has me on a disability. Not only did it injure my physical health, it crushed me emotionally. It was like, how do you function in this world now when ignorance is bliss? You can function in the world if you're quite ignorant to it, but when you get as much information as I have, it's like, how do you fit into this world now? You're either going to be part of a group of people that are very, very angry because there's a lot of crime and we're at war, and war has never solved anything, or you're going to be on the other side of taking advantage of other people. And I don't have to go far to go and look for a job and seeing what job it is, and seeing what is it they're doing and how are they taking advantage of people. How is this actually benefiting society? And there's very, very few jobs for me to even go and apply at, that if I go and apply at those jobs, it would stress me out to the max and increase my physical health problems. I'm perfectly healthy, both emotionally and physically, if I live in a world where I don't allow either side of this reality affecting me. It's like, what is the purpose of why all of this happened? And I truly believe that it's like, okay, they picked on the wrong woman, because I'm not going to pick any side. I'm going to know exactly what's going on, and I'm going to do what I can to fix it. So I do strongly believe that those that have committed any of these crimes, these elites, these wealthy people, they have been brainwashed into doing what they're doing. It doesn't matter how high up the line it gets, they still are dealing with a very high level of brainwashing. They want to be accepted. We tend to give respect to people who appear more intelligent, who have bigger bank accounts. And so those on the bottom, or even in the middle, as long as you think, as long as you live your life, as long as you're playing that game, that's the way you get accepted, then we're going to support this game to keep on playing. And ultimately they just want to be accepted. And if you can see, there's a war against these elites. We are not accepting them. We're doing everything that won't solve the problem, but it is, you have to accept everybody for where they're at and say, where do we go from here? And I mean, the biggest thing we can see is those who have right now, they need to, this repentance. If you want to believe in the Bible and you want to believe in an Armageddon, if you want to believe in God, God shows up when we show up. The repentance, if you want to believe in Jesus, don't degrade Jesus. Don't make him the victim of your abuse that you've put into the world. You at some point have to reflect on, okay, if I have a lot of money, there's something I did wrong. If there's poverty in the world, somehow I'm sustaining that poverty, and I have to put back into the world what it is I destroyed. So, anybody that has any level of money right now, any amount of wealth, they are not repenting if they're not giving, and they got to know how to give. And it's not form your own nonprofits and think what we need, because us on the bottom with less, the people that don't want to get over it, they want to be heard, and they want the problem solved. And ask them what it is they want, because more than likely they know exactly what they want. Don't give us what you think we want, give us what we know we want, and it's true repentance. I'll continue.